video blog. So I'm on the Jane Addams Tollway. I don't have any idea who Jane Addams is. I know who Jane Byrne is. There's the Jane Byrne interchange, but they changed that in Chicago, and I don't know if it's still considered the Jane Byrne interchange. But this is the Jane Addams or 90 Tollway. It's the 90 Tollway leading into the other half of it. When it goes from the Jane Addams Tollway, which is 90 Tollway, it turns into the freeway, the Kennedy Freeway. And the amount, and this is where the congestion comes in, a tollway leading into a freeway. What do you think happens after the tollway gives out, meaning ends, into the freeway? Massive bottleneck. And why is that? We're passing an entrance or an exit right here. Arlington Heights. And then you got Elmhurst. You got very few entrances, very few exits on the tollway. And then the tollway dumps in to the freeway, and literally every few blocks you have an entrance and exit. Massive people coming in and out because it's free. And so everybody crowds in. So at the end of the tollway, it gets congested, unbelievably. But now, if we move the Bears Stadium out to Arlington Heights, what happens for this tollway? Unprecedented revenue. As all the people coming down from Elgin and up that way on the tollway, because the tollway goes up to Elgin and beyond, they would be coming down through the tollway, paying actually multiple tolls. When you're coming from Elgin or outside of it, I think you pay 2 tolls, and they pay 1 toll coming up. So you would generate an incredible amount of money for the tollway. Not only in Bears games, like I said, the agricultural industry, you can have all kinds of farming events, truly big livestock events, because you would bring in the holding. You could still have all kinds of horse events, but not like horse racing, but all kinds of auctions and that. So you can have all kinds of ranch or farm animal auctions. You can have all kinds of, horse auctions and that. You can bring up all kinds of agricultural events. Truly, in the stadium. You can fill it with non-traditional, not concerts, what they do, fill it with other sports teams. No, you can fill it with other industry events, making it non-traditional. The state police, 140 years. But this tollway, and now you got vertical farming going on in the city, and they would come out for agricultural events at the new Bears Stadium. So you have all these industries, and you can have all kinds of industry-related events. I went to Arlington Heights, and my friends from the Schaumburg Business Association had a industry event. I forget what industry, but they had it at the Arlington Heights racetrack. We also had one at the Schaumburg Convention Center, which is the Renaissance Hotel. And that's where I ran into bamboo flooring and that for the first time in 2001. 1 or 2, something like that. First time these guys were introducing first to the market bamboo flooring. I thought it was a great idea, but it hadn't been in the market before. And we were going over it, and they were the ones that were introducing it into the market in the U.S. But again, this tollway would get all kinds of increased traffic, and that would pay for infrastructure improvements in that. And so you can borrow against the future revenue if the Bears Stadium is coming to Arlington Heights. So, and you got nice wide shoulders here. But look at this shit. People are acting like this is the fucking pieces of shit. I mean, truly, this state is full of just fucking garbage. And I put out these videos trying to make things better, but all I get is the trash shitting and spitting all over me, beating me, depriving me, light torturing me, fucking coming up and almost slamming. I can't believe how many times they almost slammed into my car going in and out of the city over the last 10 years. Constantly threatening me. But these motherfuckers, they don't get that on a daily basis, throughout the day. It's a bunch of bullshit. So I just get socially terrorized, and everybody else has nice, tranquil, peaceful lives. And I drive the speed limit, and I don't do anything illegal, and I follow all the laws. So again, that means I should be perfectly protected. But again, this. So, and then Arlington Heights has right here in Rosemont and everything else, because the Bears Stadium is in Arlington Heights, more people will come to Rosemont. Do you know that? Because they'll get used to coming out for big events at the stadium in Arlington Heights. And that means it'll bring 3 million people at times focused on going out to the North Shore, which they never do. It's just the North Shore coming into the city, northwest side coming in, all around coming into the city. But now the stadium being out in Arlington Heights, the city will be coming to Arlington Heights. And that means all of these places like Rosemont and everything, Park Ridge, it'll get all kinds of related benefits. The gas stations, the convenience stores, the restaurants and that, because of the flow going out for the different events that'll be held at, like the Taylor Swift concert at Bears Stadium in Arlington Heights. Say we do a concert and you do a Taylor Swift. So, again, you'll get people coming out in mass droves that don't come out. They'll even create more attention for the Allstate Arena. Truly, it would create all kinds of more attention for the Allstate Arena. That's where the DePaul Blue Demons used to play until they built the Wynn Trust. United Center said play at the United Center, and they gave them a really nice deal. But the point is, DePaul wanted the concessions and everything. Oh, that's why they built their own stadium. They wanted all the food and beverage sales. The deal was that they would get a sweetheart on playing there. They get to keep all the ticket revenue. And the United Center would get all the concessions and parking. DePaul said no. They wanted the parking. They wanted the concessions. They wanted it all. And so they built their own stadium. And that's why they left the Allstate Arena. They wanted all the other revenue, a piece of all the revenue that they weren't getting. So they built their own stadium. It's true. That's the reason supposedly the Bears are leaving. They don't get any of the other related revenue. which is a shitload of money. So it makes sense they would want, but when you're doing a one-off like Taylor Swift and that, you're making money from t-shirt sales and concert and from selling albums and that, and so you don't care about the food concessions, the food and beverage, the parking. That's not your thing. You're moving from stadium to stadium, and that's what you give up. You're not a permanent resident like a football team or a basketball team where you again and again play at, and they don't make the similar related sales. Truly, concert shirts sell, very big because they're one-time events. Taylor Swift, the concerts in Chicago, or Beyonce in Chicago in 1986, say. Now it's, say 2025, was she there, or 4? And that's it. It's a single year. It's an exclusive t-shirt in Chicago, in that year, in that stadium, at that time, and done. It makes it a unique souvenir. So people buy them because there's no more produced after she leaves. So you buy something that is only unique to that event. And that's why they sell so well. Like my brother, he was wearing a Harley Davidson shirt, but I used to see it like Boston and, AC/DC concert shirts and that, AC/DC at the Allstate Arena, 1985, summer. And so it's exclusive. And that's why they sell so well, because it's only happens, that's it, then and it's gone, never again. It's like the Grateful Dead and all their tapes. They were all live, and they allowed people to record, and it was never again. You got the Grateful Dead at the Chicago, and they had the Dead at Soldier Field was the last time they were here, and they sold the whole stadium out. Tickets were in such high demand that they went instantly. And I think it's one of the last concerts Jerry Garcia played at. But it was a unique event. That there and gone. Never again. So that's why concert shirts sell so. Like, the Bulls are in the play, the Milwaukee Bucks, multiple times in a year. So you get these, crosstown rivals, and you have numerous games. So it doesn't have that exclusivity premium that drives people to buy like concerts do. So that's why they have higher t-shirt sales. And the Hard Rock used to use that because you had to go to the Hard Rock. You couldn't buy it online. You had to go to the Hard Rock in downtown Chicago, and you had to wait, and you get your t-shirt there. And they didn't sell it. You couldn't buy it online. Truly. And you can't buy multiples. You can't I'll take 10. No, then that loses exclusivity. You can buy it for yourself and no one else. If they want it, they gotta come. That's why the Hard Rock t-shirts drove so many people to the Hard Rock, and they built out exclusivity. You couldn't get it online. One thing about online, it's a dilution tool. It waters everything down. It makes everything a commodity. It makes it generic. So everything thinks online is great, but online also can be the death of you. Taking something that's limited and hard to get, and then all of a sudden, you can get it anywhere, anytime you want. And so the premium of it the exclusivity, the rarity goes away. You can just get it whenever you want it, however you want it, and that's it. And the funny thing is, that's what happens in a marriage. Instead of taking the intimacy in each interaction as a unique event and as something special, which I did with Jen, that it never got old, and each time it wasn't mundane, each time was special. A rabbi talked about it. And bringing intimacy back. And one of it was wearing respectful clothing outside the bedroom. Where taking off your clothing was a big deal. That, people don't put a premium on intimacy, and you make it mundane and not special. And so it gets watered down over time. Married for 10 years, married for 20 years, and it's like the same old thing. What did they say? I don't know the terminology they use, but it's pretty degrading towards long-term marriages. They don't take a premium on the relationship, spending time together. And one of them, and what's the death of a relationship also, is retirement. One of the things that makes things fonder, as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, is that you go to work and they go to work and you don't see each other. And you get limited amount of time with each other, making that time premium more special. But when you go into retirement, as they preach, then being together doesn't mean shit. Have you ever been with friends and you meet up and it's like a big deal? Because of all your other commitments and that, you can't get together. You see it in the movie, like the movie Tag. It's a big deal when they get together because they can't. They got this going on, they got that going on, and they got to schedule it in. And when they get together, they value each other's time. It's rare. And so they have to make these, plan a year in advance and everything. And it makes it a big deal to be together. And you remember it. It's memorable because it's not every day per se. So when you get in retirement, I watch this with couples, and I was a financial planner. I think I was I am the most elite financial planner in the world. But I used to tell it to couples. You have to find these things of independence, and you have to find and how to make things special between, and when you share time, like you're watching that show or whatever, like David and his wife, he was at 65. He started at my firm at 60 years old. 2 jobs at 60 years old. He got a second job at 60. He worked for my firm and did bank consulting. He had 2 jobs at 60 years old. And he was still going when I left at 65. But it was Leave It to Beaver. It was a thing that him and his wife liked to share before they went to bed, per se. But it was an event, watching Leave It to Beaver. They both loved it because of its moral content. Both very religious. And they liked the conservative value of the show. And they put a premium. It's something as a couple they value together, and they love watching the show next to each other. Laying next to each other in an intimate thing, watching the show together before they closed their eyes. It was something that made it special. And he used to talk about it. That me and my wife like to do this ritual that, that we have just to ourselves. Other people are watching the show, but they're not in their bedroom. It's something they uniquely do. And so, again, you have to find these things that create these intimacies. And his wife worked as well. She started working in her late 50s, 60s for the church. She went back to be a full-time employee. So it made their weekends even more premium. Truly, their weekends were greater value. They were busy during the week working in that. Their nights together were limited, They both worked full-time jobs. And it created great intimacy. It created a premium for them of valuing the time together because it created natural scarcity. Natural scarcity. So they valued the time they had together. And you're looking for these things, and retirement, they don't tell you. And I read even couples, after a lot of people die within 10 years of retirement, even when they're married, because they don't have any uniquenesses, any things that they spend together, creating this unique love and intimacy, not hatred. War of the Roses, go watch that. They want to kill each other at every freaking turn. They didn't love being together when they ended up together in that house, and they ended up together in that house all the time. They wanted to kill each other. From being out there and doing different things and the marriage being perfect, the War of the Roses show, now we got this house and now we're doing it together, kind of like the movie The Money Pit, and now we're going to spend every fraction of every day together. And things that were okay to be together all of a sudden became huge annoyances. And the friction of being together all the time, and that's what people don't prepare for, is that, like Grace used to have timeouts. Too much time with James. That's why you have the boys' night out and the girls' night out, creating some space, making time together a little bit more intimate. So what happens? They're always putting that toothbrush in that place, and then you're home all day and you see that toothbrush sitting there, and it drives you up a fucking wall. Why can't they put the fucking toothbrush in the fucking toothbrush holder? It is that simple. But when you're gone, that toothbrush sits there, out of sight, out of mind, and then you come back home and it's like, no big deal. You pick it up, you put it in the holder. It's so endearing. So, like Robin Williams, his wife farted once in Good Will Hunting. And it was endearing. But if you're doing it regular, they want to beat the shit out of you. It's like snoring. Oh, they did this, and then they fall asleep and it's quiet. But I've been around people, and they're snoring, and they're like, I want to kill you. Not cute anymore. So you think of all those things that people think it's just so cute. That's because it's a little bit. We learned this from long-term care. When it's like, oh, I gotta wipe my mom's ass or change the Depends and clean her. It's no big deal. Then I talked to him a couple years later. So how's that going? I fucking hate the bitch. I gotta wipe her fucking ass and clean up after her, and this is not my life, and I feel so trapped, and it's wearing down upon me. And this is true stories. And every day, I just wish she would just fucking die. So I don't have to constantly, throughout the day, change her diaper or wipe her fucking ass. So you're all for depends. I'm not. I've seen the reality of that situation. And that situation is go to any senior home. It's the same way. Even when they do it and get paid to do it, eventually they grow to hate the fucking people. Because, as I showed you, your brain knows it's disgusting and filthy, and then you're bathed in it every day, and this is why ghettos are so violent. So you take it around. I've already showed you the numbers and the psychology. It's a proven fucking fact. So where something comes like, oh, it's no big deal, don't worry. But when you have to live in it, you want to get out of it. And if you have to kill to get out of it, well, then that becomes a choice. So you don't understand, but I understand this. And I talk to people, and I watch their mindset change. So I understand this shit. It's like tailgating. A little bit, okay, here and there, but multiple times throughout the day, I can go and watch numbers all over the world, and I pull them way before this. And they want to kill the other person. That's why we do get all these road rage incidents where they kill people. Go ahead and pull it up. How many people get killed in road rage incidents? And then watch where the traffic is. Something that is okay. Because they don't teach them to take off the pressure. They create pressure cookers by ignoring the filth, the disgrace, the disgust. And so, it's like I was watching a TV show and the girl's tapping. And she doesn't tap. And to them, it wasn't like, okay, it's no big deal. Because there's all that goodwill. They don't do it. And so now they're tapping, and it was for a little bit, but it's no big deal. Because it's not an everyday thing, beating a nail into their coffin. Boom, boom, boom. You're pounding it in, day out with the negativity. We call it passive aggressive. They can't take it anymore, and they fucking blow. That's what happened in the LA riots. It's the same thing in the ghetto. Not black people and black leadership not cleaning it up, not solving the problems, not addressing youth unemployment or anything else. And you created a pressure cooker. And it just cooks and cooks and cooks and cooks and cooks. And then it just blows. Because black leadership, as the economist says, and this is leadership all over the world, they fuck people. And they're not in it. They got all the goodwill. Look at the Senate. Look at the House. Look at how nice the room is, how clean it is, how comfortable their seats are, how nice the atmosphere is and everything. All the perks they get. Shitloads of goodwill. Well, when you're in the ghetto, you don't get any of that goodwill. And so, all of a sudden, there's not these outlets. Like we had the Park District. But when it closed, there was no outlets. They had the youth basketball, starting at midnight basketball, going all morning. And that was an outlet. And violence went down. Because they had this goodwill. They can go play late night hoops. In a safe environment. The key was, they didn't allow gangbangers or thug mentality. So people could play. There were no cheap shots on the court or you were fucking banned. So you had to mind your P's and Q's. So people could go there and compete fairly. And it broke down violence. It did. It broke it down because there was an alternative. And somewhere I can compete fairly, have a good time, win or lose. You give sportsmanship. You shake each other's hand after the game. There's a foul. You go down. The player extends a hand and gives you a hand up. Here you go, bro. Come on. Solving the issue. But you create a city that's a fucking pressure cooker. Ignoring the tailgating, ignoring the people doing the wrong things, and you create a pressure cooker. And you cook it and cook it and cook it and cook it, and then you blame the people for going violent. You blame the people for being upset. You blame the people for protesting. But literally, you created the pressure cooker, and me and my partner David used to talk about this, that they created their own incubator. What you sow is what you reap. An eye for an eye. Comes around, goes around. And so they created it. And that's what happens. So you allow them to do it, and it just creates this system of unbelievable destructive nature. But if you create a system of goodness, then everybody builds up goodwill. And then the little misdeed is not as devastating. It's like when you have a lot of money and somebody steals $1. And you're like, no big deal. But if you have no money and they steal $1, you want their head taken off immediately. And rightfully so. You have no margin of goodwill. And when you take all the goodwill again, it's life or death. The goodwill means that situation isn't a life or death situation. But when you put things into a life and death situation continuously, like you do with me, running me out of money right after I get it, making sure I'm in infinite debt, in infinite negativity, you've created a constant pressure cooker. Not only with the negativity financially, you took away the friends, you took away the restaurants, 100 and something that I don't go to, that I've been kicked out of. You took away everything from me. I don't talk to people on the phone. I used to talk to John and Pete literally every other day, every fucking day, for hours on end at times. You took away everything. And then you gave me diabetes I didn't have, neuropathy, arthritis, tinnitus, many other issues. And then I don't have my mom at home, and my brother doesn't clean shit. At least my mother, she brought a little bit of goodwill. She would clean the floors every so often, the bathroom, do the dishes every so often, do a little laundry, making it at least a little bit more bearable. But now you thrown it 360, doesn't do fucking shit. 20 fucking years, never did anything. My mother did anything. He never did anything. She even run and get him food and everything else. And then you give me all these illnesses, all these poverties, no money, no nothing. And then you keep me with my brother who doesn't do shit. And I've been taking care of him, and I put my life on line numerous times for him since I've been a child. It's fucking insanity.